With an annual population growth rate of 3.2%, Uganda has the fastest growing population in the region. For instance, the annual population growth rate of Kenya is 1.9%, Tanzania 3%, Rwanda 2.4%, Burundi 2.7%, and South Sudan 1.3%. However, a high population is not all doom. If handled well, it can accelerate economic growth, as Godbat Shabe, a lawyer and policy analyst, attests.
In theory, a big population is a good thing. So basically, you've created a huge human reservoir or human resource that can be harnessed for development and transformation in terms of the market, in terms of ingenuity and entrepreneurship, because young people are more enterprising. But I think what is important and what the challenge for us here is that you are dealing with we are not dealing with the question of the quality of the population.
Uganda's rather high population growth rate is quite challenging, especially given that in recent years the economy has been growing by about 5 or 6% annually. Uganda has the world's second youngest population, with over 90% of its population below the age of 30. Recent statistics from the National Population Council show that this youthful population is largely consumptive rather than productive.
It is a challenging population, so what we are really talking about is that as we prioritize education, we should also make sure that the young people, not only that they're educated, but they have the skills, but also the economy is able to give them the employment so that they can become the engine of growth. But at the moment, we are not yet there.
There are no investments that could get a robust private sector that is able to come up with ideas and start businesses that create jobs. So what you've seen is the government adopting, more or less like adopting a welfare approach to development. Now the in thing is parish development model. And that is not going to deliver the kinds of jobs that are demanded by this youthful population.
Dr. Jotham Musinguzi, the Executive Director of the National Population Council, says transitioning from the pre-dividend stage takes time.
Uganda just entered its demographic transition only about 10 years ago. And so in that respect, we are really very young in the transition. And there are 5 pillars that we must be able to look at. Look at education, look at health, look at the economy, look at the demographic trends, and then be able to do the right things with the policies, implement them very well, stay in there, make sure the investments are right.
Currently, the bottlenecks to achieving the demographic dividend include a high teenage pregnancy rate of 25%, a low school completion rate of 35%, an unmet family planning need of 18%, and only 42% of the working age population being employed or in training.
All these problems you see are more of a consequence of the failure of leadership and governance than just lack of scientific and technical capacity to solve these problems. I don't think that's where the problem is.
Research shows that a decline in a country's fertility rate can only be possible if people understand that fertility can be controlled through their own actions, if they realize the benefits of having fewer children, and if they have access to contraceptive methods and knowledge of their use. You can bear it. Jackie Katana, the Executive Director of Family Health Initiative, says government needs to invest in family planning to provide families with information on conception and other family planning methods. This will, in turn, influence the decision-making processes of households.
And this goes really to government of Uganda and all those people who are supporting the government to invest in terms of financing for reproductive health, financing for family planning, because there's giving me information and you mobilize me, but if I go now to access the services and I don't find them, So even if we train religious leaders as champions, they mobilize communities, they give the right messages. Now, if they go to access the services in health facilities and they don't find them, then that becomes a major setback.
While achieving the demographic dividend will accelerate economic growth and boost the social outcomes crucial to improving daily life of Ugandans, Charles Kabiswa, the Executive Director of Regenerate Africa, says protecting the environment is also key.
The natural resources do not grow, they do not expand. We are in the same landscape, we are talking about overpopulation, but most of our interaction should be more of a cross-sector to make sure that we integrate these investments that are targeting the youth with the nature so that the population dynamics or increase or interaction and livelihoods of these young people coexist with the environment.
There are no shortcuts to achieving the demographic dividend. This achievement is largely dependent on the investment choices in key sectors such as education, human capital development, health and governance made by the government. GILLIAN NANTUME, NTV Tonight.